Hello, welcome to weekendhandicapper.com. My name is Shane Thomas. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the key strategies if you want to profit consistently from horse racing, and that is to continuously search out for vulnerable favorites. Now we know favorites win 33% of the time in horse races. So if you can make it a point to search for those horses that are going off as the favorite, and if you could find kinks in their armor and bet on other horses, then you will profit from horse racing. Now to me, there's various ways to look for vulnerable favorites, different angles. But to me, there's 5 that seem to come up quite often. And we're going to go over each one of those. The first is layoffs. And again, those of you that are new to horse racing, layoffs when a horse hasn't raced in a while. Whether he needed some rest or she was injured and needed time to rehab, now it's coming back. But it's just like humans, you know, if we hadn't went out and ran or jogged in a long time, we're not going to be as good as people that have been in the habit of running and jogging. You know, it's the same thing. So, not to say that horses that are favorites won't win after coming off layoffs. They do, but you don't want to take too short of a price. My money usually bets against those horses. I'm going to gamble and say, look, you might not be in shape right now. You might be a couple races down the road or the next race down the road. But I'm going to bet against you, banking on that you're not fit right now. Not in tip-top shape. You might be just using this race to prepare yourself for another race coming up. So that's number one. If you see a favorite that's a heavy favorite or low odds and it hadn't raced in a while, say 2 or 3 months or more, then you might want to take a stand against that favorite. Number 2 is popular trainer-jockey combinations. It can't be more simple than this. Sometimes horses are favorites just because they have a well-known trainer and a well-known jockey teaming up that people know that are popular, and that's what causes the low odds. So if you can't find anything in the form or in your program or whatever past performances you use that can justify the low odds other than the trainer and jockey combination, then that's probably the reason. Remember, trainers and jockeys, in my books, not important as the talent of the horse. You know, they can only work with what they got. So if that's the only factor you see in your data that you have in front of you, then you might want to take a stand against that horse, if that horse is a heavy favorite. Number 3 is inconsistent form, bad form. If the horse is inconsistent, might run a great race one time and then throw in a clunker. Run a great race, then a clunker, and you can't explain it. Or the horse races, then is going back to the layoffs, takes a break, is out for a while, comes back, takes a break, races twice, then takes a break. And the performance is so like it might win, then it might finish 4th. It might come in 3rd, then win twice. So it's just anything that's you can pick up on that's inconsistent and again bad form. I like a horse that's fit, that you can depend on pretty much every time they enter a race. They might not win every race, but at least they're competitive. And they consistently race. Not, I'm going to race and take forever off and you don't know why. That sort of thing. So inconsistent performance and bad form is number 3. Number 4 is what have you done for me lately? This horse is getting bet and it's a heavy favor or a low odds horse. Simple fact, it was entered in a Kentucky Derby, let's say, use it as an example. Or 7, 8 races ago, the horse was great, was really good. And some people just living in the past thinking that same horse will show up today, and it might not. Again, odds are the determining factor. If that horse was 8 to 1, that's a whole different story of whether or not you were going to bet it. But if it's even money, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, something like that, and it hadn't did anything in a long time, and when it was good, it was in all these famous races and racing against quality horses, still, that horse might be done. You know, might have seen better days. So take a stand against it at low odds. And number 5, and this is huge in my book, is pace. Unless that horse is a super horse, it's going to be tough to overcome pace scenarios, pace duels. You know, I've seen so many good horses at low odds fall victim to an early speed duel. It's out there competing on the front end and some closer mows them down. Or it gets off, it's a closer, the horse, the heavy favorite is a closer, but other good horses are early speed and can't catch up to them. Or they run into some traffic and they can't get to them. So there's all kinds of pace scenarios that can be the undoing of a favorite horse or a low odds horse. So if you can determine the pace scenario, today's race that you're looking at, and you think that horse is going to be in with a bunch of speed horses, it might fall victim to a pace scenario that doesn't favor that horse, or the track's playing to a certain type of speed or lack of speed, or favors closers, and that favorite in that race is the opposite running style of what the track is playing towards, then take a stand at low odds. So those are my 5 ways to search out vulnerable favorites, because again, if you're not on the favorite, if a lot of people are betting these favorites, that increases, with the way the pari-mutuel system works, that increases the odds of your horse, which means higher odds and potentially more money for you if you're correct. So let's go through these again. Number 1, we have a horse coming off layoffs. Could be vulnerable. Number 2, famous jockey and trainer combinations. They're just popular, and that's the only reason they're getting bet down as much as they are. Take a stand. Try to beat them. Number 3, inconsistent form and inconsistent performance. Number 4, what have you done for me lately? You might have been a good horse a while back, but you hadn't did anything to show that you're still that horse. Play against that horse. All right? And number 5, pace. If today's pace scenario doesn't favor that favorite, take a stand, try to beat them, and put your money on one of those horses that the pace scenario does favor at better odds. So if you can remember those 5 angles, those 5 factors, try to consistently search out those vulnerable favorites, and I guarantee you're going to win more at the track. And the winners that you have, the more tickets you cash, are going to be higher odds than what you have in the past. Take a stand against favorites. You're never going to make any money consistently betting favorites, especially vulnerable favorites. They're going to let you down. And if you search for those 5 factors, I guarantee you're going to come out a winner. So if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, check out my website, weekendhandicapper.com. And until next time, happy handicapping and smart wagering.